Hiya! Welcome! We've reached Monday number 4 here in Women's Month for MD Monday. Thank you for joining me once again. This is the penultimate episode in this mini-series, and today we go to the year 1998 and an album from the British singer Des'ree. This is her third album, Supernatural.
I'm afraid of the dark, especially when I'm in a park and there's no one else around. Ooh, I get the shivers. I don't want to see a ghost. It's a sight that I fear most. Rather have a piece of toast. Watch the evening news. Life, oh life, oh life, oh life. Do life, oh life, oh life, oh life. Do. I'm a superstitious girl. I'm the worst in the world. Never walk under ladders. I keep a rabbit's tail. I'll take you up on a dare. Anytime, anywhere. Name the place, I'll be there. Bungee jumping, I don't care. Life, oh life, oh life.
So Des'ree had come to prominence a couple of years or so, maybe a few more than that, earlier on in the decade with her single You Gotta Be, which was a big radio hit. I remember hearing it all over the place. Showcased Des'ree's pleasant voice, as this album does, and of course we'll talk about the tracks shortly. By that point in the mid to late 90s, she'd established herself as quite a high charting star here in the UK. Before I talk about the album and give you my thoughts on it, let's have a look at the packaging and the contents. It's got the hype sticker on the case itself, which tells you which singles were released from this album. Case is actually in really nice condition. Obviously you've got the usual very minor scuffs. The booklet is concertina style, lyrics in there for every track as you would expect, and we've also got some publishing and production information as well. Good enough without being absolutely thrilling. And as for the disc, you know the drill by now. We've got the album artwork, Des'ree Supernatural, stuck on that side. Flip it over, track listing again, and some legal bump, copyright and record label logos, all that sort of caboodle. I've just finished listening to this, only the second time I've heard this album in my life. Bought the Minidisc a long time ago, as you would expect. Let's just get cracking into Supernatural, and it starts with track 1, What's Your Sign? That was technically the third single, at least in the UK, that came from the album. I think it made the top 20, and it's Des'ree kind of banging on about astrology. It's quite a good song. I can see why it was chosen as a single. The lyrical content, and that becomes a little bit of a running theme throughout this album, is to my ears a bit ropey, but it's a pleasant opener. Track 2, God Only Knows. It's not a cover of the Beach Boys classic, perhaps unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, depending on how you feel about Des'ree herself. But that's a decent track actually, no problems with that at all. Number 3 is the best known track from the album, and although technically it was the second single released from the album, and I'll get onto that later, you could say it was the lead single really, Life. Very catchy, especially the chorus. What lets Life down is the almost moronic lyrics really. I mean, it became quite notorious after it had come out and been played all over TV and radio for just some of the most overly simplistic, almost to the point of cretinous lyrics really. And it became almost like a kind of early meme really, did Des'ree's Life, before we really changed the meaning of what a meme was in the internet age from the 2000s onwards really. In fact, I remember there was, in more recent years, a Twitter account that was basically a Des'ree parody, and it would just put out these kind of 4-line poems or parody lyrics of things, and it would always end with the line, "Ooh, I get the shivers," which is one of the notorious lyrics in Life itself. The song also won a Worst Song Lyrics Ever award from the BBC at some point in the 2000s as well. A pleasant thing, but just don't pay too much attention to the actual words in it, because it's like some child had scrawled them out. Next up is Best Days. That was okay, although Des'ree was singing in quite a higher register than what she normally does, and that didn't quite work for me. I think she needs to stick to kind of what she does best, really. Then we get to number 5, Proud to be a Dread. I mean, I suppose this was kind of a sort of celebration of black culture to a point. There again, when I was listening to the lyrics, these sort of didn't make a lot of sense, really. Better than the lyrics in Life, but then most things are. It didn't quite work for me, that one. Then track 6 is I'm Kissing You. Now that was technically the first single from the album, but it would have come out maybe up to a year before Life and Supernatural itself came out, as it featured on the Romeo and Juliet film from around that time. Was that the Baz Luhrmann directed movie? I think so. It didn't do anything in the chart really, and I get the feeling it was just kind of added to this album as an afterthought almost, because up until then it had been a standalone single. It's okay. It's got some very bombastic and filmic strings in it. You can certainly imagine it being on some sort of epic romantic movie. I don't know if it fits this album very well. Next we have Indigo Daisies, and then after that Time. Time is kind of like a sort of sibling to Life really, certainly in tone and sound really to me. Next up is Down by the River. Penultimate track is Darwin Star. See, I've not got an awful lot to say about this album, really. I'd rather just sort of give you my overall thoughts at the end, to be honest. And the final track, which is track 11, is Fire, which is more of a kind of guitar-led thing, really. Acoustic guitar, a little bit bluesy at times to me. Suits Des'ree's voice, certainly, and it's a decent enough way to end the album. So, what are my overall thoughts on Supernatural? I mean, Des'ree, she's in the R&B and soul genres, really. My problem with this album and other things that I've heard from Des'ree over the years is, for me, it's like she's putting out soul music and R&B for middle-class white people. And I hope that's not too disrespectful, because obviously Des'ree is a woman of colour. But just everything just seems so homogenised and UK radio friendly. There's not, apart from with an arguable exception of Proud to be a Dread, there's not much here that feels like she's really celebrating her culture and ethnicity, really. As a lyricist, she's got a long way to go, really, but I've focused on that and the kind of laughability of the lyrics in Life already. You know, if you put this on as kind of background music, if you're having a relatively formal dinner party or something like that, no one would complain. I just think really Des'ree, at least as a singer, if not as a songwriter, could do an awful lot better, really. I can't compare it to any of her other albums because I've never heard them. This one is just kind of weak sauce overall. It's not horrible, and I wasn't listening to this thinking, oh, this is terrible, I wish this would hurry up and end. A lot of it was funny, really, just listening to sort of her banging on about signs of the zodiac and ghosts and a piece of toast and things. But it's not meant to be funny, you know. I suppose there's meant to be some sort of serious message in many of these tracks, but I wasn't getting them. For that Supernatural, it's not really a recommendation, only very, very mild if you like Des'ree's voice, which is perfectly decent. This isn't the sort of thing that I would listen to generally, so that's another reason why I can't give it a really full recommendation, really. So overall, I would say, if you see this around, you know, don't pay more than a few pence for it, really. Obviously not the Minidisc, because that will be considerably more expensive just because mini discs are. If you saw the CD somewhere, it's not worth the price it would have come out at the time, really. It's a largely forgotten album. Desiree herself, I can't remember the last time I saw her in the kind of public eye, really. I'm sure she is still working, but Supernatural is just bland and trite, really. It's something to stick on, but don't pay an awful lot of attention to it. So there we go. That was number 4 from Women's Month here on Minidisc Monday, and we've got one more to go on the 31st of August in a week's time. Thank you all for watching this. I want to give special thanks to my subscribers and my wonderful, generous patrons. I'm going to go now, and please come back here in 7 days' time for the final and 5th episode of Women's Month, right here on Minidisc Monday. Cheers, everyone. See ya!